I do have some just stray observations.
Okay.
One of them is when that chase scene starts where Alex is driving the champagne truck.
Yeah.
Very early in that chase, he hits a guy with the car, and I swear to God that the scream the guy lets out is the opening scream from I Feel Good by James Brown. It's like, wow, like that. It is that scream. Like,
okay, I thought you were going to say it's the Wilhelm scream.
It was, I don't know, the musical equivalent of the Wilhelm scream. So the second thing, and I don't know if this is an example of further enriching the world or just not fucking paying attention to what you're doing. Do you remember the date?
I think I just discovered it was 2009 before we started recording, so no.
2009. So there's a big screen that Alex sees once he escapes. It has the year and the date on it, and it says it's Thursday, November 23rd, 2009.
Thursday, November 23rd.
A couple things about this. November 23rd was a Monday in 2009, and that seems like a really easy thing to fact check and get right. Like, we know when that date is going to fall 17 years from now.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
The point is you fact checked it. Why are you...
Well, I mean, like, somebody needs to do it. But the reason I fact checked it, Nate.
Yes, what's the reason?
Is because if it's a Thursday and it's the 4th week of November,
it's Thanksgiving.
It's fucking Thanksgiving. The events of this movie happen during Thanksgiving week. Why? I don't know.
Do we even celebrate Thanksgiving when we're eating river rats?
Well, I was going to say, the river rat scene is probably Thanksgiving Day.
You know? I mean, that's another element they could have played with.
Because it does take place over the course of about 3 days, right?
Yeah.
I think the river rat scene is probably the day before. I think it's the Wednesday. But,
okay, man,
what a weird time to set your movie. Like, it raises more questions to me. If you think Thursday was November 23rd, then you believe it's Thanksgiving Day when he arrives there.
If I were doing it, I would have made it November 5th.
Yeah.
That's right, Doc. November 12th, 1955.
It could mean that that point in time inherently contains some sort of cosmic significance, almost as if it were the temporal junction point for the entire space-time continuum. On the other hand, it could just be an amazing coincidence.
There you go.
That's like the nexus of the universe or whatever.
I just thought, what a weird thing to do.
I think you're probably the only person that's caught that since 1991.
I am absolutely the only person who caught that. But it's because my birthday is November 22nd. And I am fairly certain that November 23rd, 2009 was not a Thursday.
You remember every birthday all the way back to... I don't know what day of the week 2009 my birthday was. Man, what is... Jeez.
I was
Move
like,
on to your third observation here, Brian.
All I'm saying, if I'm the screenwriter for this movie and I'm bothering to put the actual date on the screen at some point, I am going to make sure that I've got the right day of the week associated with that date.
I will all but guarantee it's not in the script.
Maybe not. Whoever was responsible for it...
That's some art director shit that
failed.
The director didn't pay attention to, and the art director was like, you know what? Nobody's going to check this.
Maybe you're right.
Unless there's a podcast some 20-odd years from now.
Also, all right, the third stray observation. Can't believe I didn't
How many of these strays do we have?
I don't know. I'm just... At least one more.
Okay.
I can't believe I didn't mention it when we were talking about the slum, the street that the poor people all live on. There are a lot of prostitutes. And they've got a really good light display because it's just like those two boobs.
Yeah, those two boobs.
With like the light bulbs.
Yep.
I was like, what a great idea.
What?
I can't believe I didn't mention that earlier.
Can't believe I didn't think of that.
No. Brad, in the few scenes that he's in after Alex comes to the future and finds him, tells Alex he looks too nice. He looks too clean. So he's got to dress the part and he's got to start walking the part. He tells him to walk with a limp.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And the line he says is, if you look like poison, no one's going to want to touch you. I was like, that's good.
Yeah, that's a good line,
Another
too.
real solid line
I
there.
had forgotten about that one.
Another stray observation. There's the patron in the cafe
Yeah.
who threatens Alex.
Pulls a
and then
gun on Alex.
Takes out his gun and sets it on the table. And then, of course, there's this altercation with him where he's knocked to the floor and Brad is shot. There's this whole firefight. And then Alex steals a cop's motorcycle, rides it around the block, comes back through the cafe with the motorcycle, and the patron falls backwards and his plate lands on top of him. And we don't really see what happened there, but the implication is that after this patron shot a man in cold blood, he returned to his food and continued trying to eat it.
Yeah, I mean,
Which is
it seemed like they were just kind of lawlessly
stone cold.
shooting at each other. You were right earlier when you observed they just having firefights on the street, and some people are just kind of walking around.
This man's just trying to eat a shitty breakfast.
Yeah, he didn't even like that food.
Yeah. Boy,
But he'll
what
shoot a
jerk.
man to keep it.
Those are all the stray observations. Other than, oh no, I do have one more. And that is that when he's on the run from the Bonejackers and he's in the warehouse, he has this fight with this armored soldier who seems borderline invincible. And Alex...
Oh, because of the armor he's wearing, yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing this futuristic armor, and like Alex really gets lucky during that fight multiple times and is finally able to take this guy down. And he eyeballs the outfit and then just takes the helmet.
Just takes the helmet.
I'm like, Alex, you're supposed to take the whole fucking disguise.
Yeah, right, exactly. I
How
thought
is
the
this
same
going
thing.
to help you?
I thought the same thing. I was thinking...
And this is where I'm like, this guy's kind of a bonehead.
Yeah, I was a little confused by that, too.
Like, this guy's got invincible armor on. Well, I'll just take the helmet.
And then he doesn't even need the helmet. Like, it doesn't pay off in any regard.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't protect him from any particular attack or anything. It doesn't hide his identity. Yeah, that's funny. So what more is there to say about Freejack? Hopefully by this time you've already gone and seen the Unapologetic Geeks video on Freejack. The reason that we even started recording anything. You want to pretend like it was great to be on the show?
It was so. I mean,
we haven't recorded it yet at this point, but I'm sure we were entertaining.
it's always fun. It's always a pleasure to talk with other people, especially people who love this sort of stuff. That's the nice thing. It was great when Tug was on our show,
Yeah,
talking about Air Raid. We're all just really into this.
right, exactly.
And so it's always nice to have that sort of
A shared
additional
interest.
voice. Yeah, and a shared interest. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was fun. And I'm sure that being a guest on his program will be fun. But in the meantime, we had a lot of fun last week or so when we did the Rotten Tomato game. I like to call it Spoiled Tomatoes, about the Rachel...
Got to get a sound effect in there. I was like...
Yeah, I'll find something. The Rachel McAdams time travel trilogy. But we did not take this game to Freejack yet. And I feel like I have a pretty good idea that it wasn't a very well-received movie.
Well, I did talk about the fact that the test screening was so bad that they had to go back and add a whole bunch more into this movie.
Yeah.
And it just kind of came and went. It was like a blip on the pop culture radar. I feel like people, again, knew the title more than they knew the movie.
Yes.
Right?
Like
so
myself.
It didn't have a very large cultural impact.
Well, I'm not too far removed from having watched it, not too far removed from having discussed it with you, and I still feel pretty good about this movie. I feel like the thing I like the most about it is my own idea of making it like Baby Driver.
Sure.
Baby Driver with time travel.
Yeah, it's just another example of a movie with a lot of potential and a lot of cool ideas.
Yeah.
I think it does a more deft job of sort of weaving those ideas into the screenplay in organic ways than, say, Millennium does. We're left with a whole lot of questions.
Yeah.
And the movie just changes gears like 3 times.
It was probably that sixth screenwriter. He's probably the one that really pulled the whole thing together.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I agree. I think Freejack was a lot of fun.
Well, I watched Freejack on The Cock, I believe. And when you happen to say, oh, yeah, I wonder what the tomato score is on this. Because if your mouse is floating in the right spot, bottom of the player,
it does. Yeah,
it shows you the tomato score was up there the whole time.
What if you're watching the movie and the tomato score starts to change in real time?
It should. Based on your response.
Yeah.
Like somehow it has technology to indicate from your facial expressions how much you like the movie.
Or maybe it starts going in the other direction. Like maybe if the tomato score is like 53 and you start to really dislike it, it's like, oh no, make it 60, make it 70, keep him on the hook.
Trust me, it'll get better. But that was the experience I had, watching it with the score practically plastered on the screen most of the time.
Not to mention it, anytime you're on Peacock from like a television, the landing page for that movie shows the tomato score. I don't pay any attention to it, though. If I'm going in there to watch a movie, I am watching the movie. I don't really pay attention to the tomato score. And in this case, I can honestly say that if it weren't for this podcast, I never would have watched Freejack. Ever in my life. And so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, thank God for Oh Boy.
Yeah.
So reaching back to one of our older episodes here, for The Time Traveler's Wife, you scored 1/2 point.
Oh, are the points, is it a running total?
Well, it wasn't going to be, but since we did 3 movies last time, and we're only doing 1 movie now, I figure might as well break it up by the movie. Okay. So for The Time Traveler's Wife, you scored 1/2 point. For Midnight in Paris, you scored 2.5 points.
That was good. That was a good one. For me, I did a good job, is what I'm saying. And the movie's quite good.
And for About Time, you scored 1/2 point.
Yeah. Okay.
So, for Freejack and 1/2 point, do you think the audience score is higher, lower, or about the same?
For Freejack.
I'm going to do it like you're at the optometrist.
Right.
Better 1, better 2, about the same.
Yeah, because we all love that. Gosh. I feel like audiences are always... Like, if it's a movie that the critics are putting low, then the audience scores are going to be naturally higher because the people seeing it are morons, but...
I wonder if the era has something to do with it, because obviously these are all aggregated from older reviews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to go with an audience score that is higher than the critic score, but not by much.
Okay.
I don't think it's a drastic spread on these.
Okay. All right. I got you. So, what is your tomato meter score for Freejack?
All right. I'm going to say the tomato meter is at about, I'm going to say 35%.
Okay.
Audience score of 53.
Wow.
I said they were going to be closer together, didn't I? And now they're like way far apart. I just feel like the audience was probably more forgiving on this one. I don't know. I know the critic score has got to be low. So I'm going to stick with what did I say, 35%?
Okay, 35.
For the critic score. No, you know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep the audience score at 53%.
Okay.
And I'm going to move the critic score up to 45%.
Wow. Okay, there's a reason that I had to make the optometrist joke. Better 1, better 2, about the same, because the critic score and the audience score are identical.
Whoa. When does that happen?
Right?
Like an uneasy truce between viewers and critics?
So I can tell you that you've scored 0 points in this endeavor.
Oh, wow.
But I'll give you an extra credit point if now, knowing that the scores are identical, if you can get within 3 percentage points of the actual number, I'll give you another point.
All right, well, then I'm going to drop it back down. I'm going to say 39%.
39%. The Rotten Tomato score for this movie is 25.
Oof.
25%.
Wow.
And audience score, 25%.
That is bad.
So like I said, I watched this movie with that plastered in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen. And one of the notes that I put in my binder, I was at the 10-minute mark of this movie and could not fathom why this was a 25% movie.
That seems low.
Drastically low.
I understand a critic score of 25% on this movie.
I'm not sure I do. I mean, it's at critics' best, that's got to be 49%.
Wait, all right, so Freejack came out in what, 1992, 93? It was
no,
92.
It says 92.
92. So this came out, what, a year?
The same year as Terminator?
No, it came out a year after Terminator 2, which...
I thought that was 1992.
Nah, it was 91. That's like, I guess, the gold standard of early 90s time travel movies. So...
Slash action movies.
Okay. And it does feel, even to us watching it now, like generic.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised that the audience score hasn't done it more favors in the ensuing years. I guess that's the thing that surprises me the most. I would have thought that would have been higher.
So, when we were doing Midnight in Paris, I tried to find really bad reviews. Should I try to find a 5-star review for this movie?
See if you can find a good review for this.
Because the first one that I found from William A., which is your typical half-star review, says, just wow. It's an ass-on-off sponsored by Valvoline. Which would be really funny if your first sentence made sense, William. He says, just wow. It's an ass-on-off. What is that?
I don't know what... Is that
That's
a 90s
the
thing?
end of the sentence. Just wow. It's an ass-on-off. Oh, it's an ass-on-off. Ass-on? Off? Like a competition? I don't...
It's an ass-on-off?
Man, if you're going to give something half a star...
At least be clear about it. At least let us know what was weak, for Christ's sake.
Okay.
He's weak. He's strong.
Okay, here's a simple one. 5-star review from Avada.
Okay.
Great movie. Great storyline. Action-packed from start to finish.
Don't disagree. Don't disagree.
Left in 2018.
I'm not sure I would say great storyline, but I would say perfectly serviceable storyline. Clever action sequences. A couple good performances. That really carry the whole thing. I'm looking at you, Mick.
All right, here's one worth discussing. 5 stars. Anonymous reviewer.
Oh, yeah.
Flawless action movie with 0 plot holes. It's very accurate, too, with today's tech industry attempting to digitize consciousness.
Okay.
Altered carbon.
We did kind of talk a little bit about that. Yeah, I think that it was... I hesitate to use the word prescient, because I definitely don't think that it took a lot in 1992 to figure out this is where we were headed as a culture. But...
would you call this a flawless action movie?
I would not call it a flawless action movie. There are flaws left and right, but...
0 plot holes.
Well, I mean, okay, there's 0 plot holes as long as you assume that diner patron who shot Brad in cold blood did in fact sit back down to eat his food immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
Other than that...
That's not part of the plot.
I mean, it was a plot...
That's just a stupid thing that happened.
I was like, wait, where did that plate of food come from?
I don't know. Is there a plot? There's not necessarily plot holes.
There's no room for plot holes in a movie like this, because it's not like he was traveling back and forth in time. He moves forward.
Well, any movie can have a plot hole.
Yeah, but I mean, there's not really... Yeah, there's no plot holes.
Yeah.
It's a very straightforward, basic plot structure.
Yeah.
I'm sure if he walked into one scene and had that Mega Man helmet on, and then the next scene he didn't, and then it was back again, or maybe he did
That's
have
not
that...
a plot hole either. That's just a continuity error,
Yeah,
Brian.
I don't know. There's no plot holes. There's no continuity errors. It's a fine film. This is a...
I'm sure there are continuity errors. Don't get yourself on tape saying that.
Well, we already talked about one of the continuity errors, and that's the height disparity between Rene Russo and Emilio Estevez. That fluctuates throughout the movie.
Or how Rene Russo doesn't age in 18 years.
That's not a discrepancy. That is simply Rene Russo.
Her best work is in the movie Major League.
Sure. Short is.
Yeah.
She does some great work in sports, rom-com kind of stuff. You ever see the movie Tin Cup with Kevin Costner, the golf movie?
If I did, it was a long time ago. But yeah, I remember people liking that pretty well.
That's a good one, too, and she's great in it. So
Yeah. She's pretty sexy in the baseball movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure that I have much else to say about Freejack.
No, that's it. Other than I changed my mind and I agree with that review that said it was flawless. Speaking of flawless, the song at the end credits, I really pay attention to the music that we hear in the movies and the shows that we watch.
You're definitely better at that than I am.
This song, as was the custom at the time. If you've got...
Did you have an onion on your belt, Brian?
Right. If this was like a mid... And I don't mean decade-wise, I mean like quality-wise. If this was a mid-90s action film, you had to end with some sort of rock track, right? And we saw this in Time Cop with Time Won't Let Me at the end by the Smithereens. This one is Hit Between the Eyes by Scorpions.
Are we really gonna do this?
Stranger things have happened. Now come on, buckle up. See what this baby will do.
Remember Scorpions?
No.
Oh man, Scorpions, they did Rock You Like a Hurricane.
Oh, okay.
And they did Wind of Change.
Rock You Like a Hurricane, you say?
Wind of Change, that was all about the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Okay.
I don't want to say end of communism, but certainly the fall of the prevalence of communism.
How about the calm before the storm?
Yeah, I guess so. It was a song that was about ending the Cold War.
All right.
And it was so successful to that end in terms of mobilizing the people of the Soviet Union that there is a rumor that the song was written by the CIA and planted. I'm not kidding. There's a whole podcast about this.
Wow.
About Wind of Change being a song developed by the CIA and deployed via the Scorpions to help facilitate the end of the Soviet Union.
That's like when the Dreadnoks became a heavy metal band called Cold Slither.
It is.
We're Cold Slither, you'll be joining us soon. A band of boyfriends playing our tune. With long fists and repulses, we shall rule.
It's a lot like that.
And they had subliminal messages in their track
Yeah.
to make Americans fall victim to Cobra.
Yeah. That's probably where the CIA got the idea from.
Right, from G.I. Joe.
But anyway, despite that story being untrue, it was...
You heard that on a podcast.
No, there's an entire podcast series about it, and it is very, very interesting. And the title of the podcast is Wind of Change, and I encourage you to listen to it because it's wild.
But not true.
It's all about the way that the government has used music over the decades and musicians over the decades to try to break through, especially during the Cold War.
Okay.
It was just another tactic that was employed by the U.S. government to help breach and spread pro-democracy messaging in the Soviet Union.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting. It's a real interesting show. But anyway, Scorpions.
We're so much dumber about things like that now.
Yeah.
If we had just known all this time that we could just have state TV and just feed people the news that we want them to hear.
Yeah, like Chum. But Scorpions record the song at the end of this, Hit Between the Eyes. I don't think it made an impact on the charts, gotta be honest with you. But I did think it was notable.
It didn't even make an impact on me.
Yeah.
And maybe it was because of the way I was watching. I'm not sure if it even played. You know how the music gets real quiet when the credits are scrolling?
Sure.
So that the thing can try to sell you the next thing you're going to click on?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And the picture kind of gets small, and then
The picture gets small, and there's a little thumbnail of the next movie. In this case, interestingly enough, the next movie was Time Cop.
They know their audience. They do know their audience.
I guess so.
Yeah, the only reason that I hung around long enough to recognize that song or to take note of it was the movie ends so quickly. We go from that last scene with Mick Jagger to like the music starting up and the credits starting within a span of like 2 seconds. It's just boom,
Really?
lightning fast. Yeah.
Huh.
And so the music starts, the credits appear, and I'm already thinking like, okay, well, this is Scorpions. What is this song? I'm unfamiliar with this song. So I hung in there for that. But if I were ranking this against Time Won't Let Me by the Smithereens, that's a much more rollicking, fun song than this is. Which I kind of wish this one had just ended with the same song. Like, let's just keep reusing it.
Time won't let him either.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me how little time travel had to do with that movie.
Yeah.
He never even thinks about trying to get home.
You're right. Yeah, that is weird, isn't it? I could go back and change things, never occurs to him. But again, as I mentioned multiple times in the episode, he's sort of a dumbass. So of course he's not thinking about that.
Maybe he's just thinking, well, the only way they can send me back is right to where I left. So I got to make the best of it, because if I go back there, I'm dead.
I never questioned it either, though. That never occurred to me watching it. Like, oh, maybe he could go back.
Well, if time travel is a technology that exists, at some point, you should be able to send somebody from the present to the past instead of just plucking people from the past to the future. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess it's interesting that nobody ever talks about it, and it doesn't really come up in the movie, and at least I accepted it just for what it was, and I never even thought, oh, what if he went back to the past? Didn't even seem like an option.
Well, at least now he's a billionaire and could fund some technology to do that if he so chose.
Do you think he'll do anything to help society?
I mean, they don't imply that either.
No, they don't. I feel like he's not going to do shit for those people in the slums.
Well, one would hope that he would, but...
We always hope.
But they don't even imply that he's not a champion for them.
No.
Really? He's just trying to save his own neck.
Yeah, they just want him to stick it to the rich.
Yeah, but now he is the rich. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how easily Alex Furlong is corrupted.
I'm going to guess very quickly.
You think so? I mean, what's her name has been like number 3 in the company for however long.
Right, so how good can she be?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. She make donations to charity on the regular? Or...
Maybe he sends Boone's grandma like $50.
That's true. Yeah, man. I don't even know. But, yeah, I still like the tomato game, boiled tomatoes. But unfortunately, a big goose egg for you tonight.
Yeah, that was a tough one. That was really tough.
Our work is done. I move we adjourn.